The phone rang at precisely 2:47 a.m. The piercing sound cut through the silence of the small apartment, like a knife, shocking Ava from a restless sleep. She glanced at the caller ID, her heart racing. It was her brother Liam. They hadn't spoken in months, not since that last family gathering, where old grievances had resurfaced, thickening the air with unresolved tensions. "Ava," he stammered when she answered, his voice trembling. "I need your help. It's about Mom." Ava's mind raced. Their mother had been ill for years, battling a relentless disease that had slowly chipped away at her vibrant spirit. But the urgency in Liam's voice suggested something far more dire. "What happened?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, though her heart felt like it was pounding against her ribcage. "They found her at the hospital. She's in a coma. I don't know what to do." Ava felt a chill run down her spine. Their family had always been complicated, tangled in secrets and unresolved tensions. The memories of childhood laughter were now overshadowed by the weight of their mother's illness and the distance that had grown between them. But this was different. This was their mother, the woman who had once filled their childhood with warmth, now lying unconscious and vulnerable. "I'll be there," Ava replied, her voice firm, despite the chaos in her mind. She hung up the phone, her thoughts swirling like a storm cloud. She could feel the familiar pang of guilt gnawing at her. She hadn't been there for her mother when she needed her most. The next morning, Ava drove the familiar route back to their hometown, each mile filled with a mix of dread and homesickness. The small town had changed little over the years. The same shops lining Main Street, the same trees lining the sidewalks, their leaves shifting from green to gold in the harvest air. But the memories were heavy, weighing down her heart. When she arrived at the hospital, Liam was waiting in the lobby, looking gaunt and fatigued, his eyes shadowed by sleepless nights. They embraced awkwardly, both of them unsure of how to navigate this moment, the air thick with unspoken words. "She's in room 34, Liam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've been here all night." As they entered the room, the sight of their mother, weak and connected to various machines, filled Ava with a mix of sorrow and anger. How had they let it come to this? The beeping of the machines was a serious reminder of her mother's fragility, a stark contrast to the vibrant woman who had once filled their home with laughter and love. "Why didn't you call me sooner?" Ava demanded, the words slipping out before she could stop them. "I could have helped. I didn't want to worry you," Liam retorted, his frustration bubbling to the surface. "You've got your own life to deal with." Days turned into weeks as they took turns at the hospital, hoping for a miracle that never came. The scent of antiseptic hung in the air, mixing with the weight of their despair. It was during this time, in the quiet of the break room, filled with flickering fluorescent lights, that old family secrets began to surface. One night, while they were sitting in the break room, Ava discovered a stack of letters hidden in Liam's bag. "What are these?" she asked, holding them up, her heart racing with a mix of curiosity and anxiety. "Nothing," Liam snapped, but Ava could see the guilt in his eyes, the way he shifted uncomfortably in his seat. She opened one, her heart sinking as she read the words. They were from a lawyer, discussing their mother's estate and revealing a hidden trust that neither of them had known about. "Why didn't you tell me?" Ava pressed, her voice rising, the anger bubbling to the surface. "What else are you hiding?" "It's complicated," Liam said, running a hand around his hair, his face a mask of conflict. "I didn't want to upset you. Mom wanted to keep this a secret." "Keep what a secret?" Ava demanded, feeling betrayed. "Our mother is lying in a hospital bed, and you're worried about money?" Liam sighed, the weight of their family's past pressing down on him. "It's not just about the money. There are things about Mom that you don't know." As the days wore on, the tension between them grew, fueled by their mother's deteriorating condition and the secrets that seemed to multiply. One evening, as they sat in the dimly lit hospital room, the rhythmic beeping of the machines, a constant reminder of their mother's fragility, Ava couldn't hold her frustration in any longer. "Liam, what is going on? You keep dodging my questions. What else are you hiding?" Liam hesitated, his eyes darting to their mother's still form before he finally spoke. "Mom wasn't just sick, Ava. She was involved in something illegal. I found out after she got sick. She was working with some shady people." Ava felt her stomach drop. "What do you mean? What kind of illegal activities?" "Money laundering," Liam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She was trying to pay off debts. I thought it was just a phase, but it spiraled out of control. That's why I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want you to think she was a criminal." The revelation hit Ava like a punch to the gut, leaving her breathless. Their mother, the woman who had cared for them, had been living a double life, a life filled with shadows and deception. But before she could process this, there was a sudden commotion in the hallway. A group of men burst into the room, their faces hard and menacing, their presence sending a shiver down Ava's spine. "Where is she?" one of them demanded, his eyes scanning the room, flicking past Ava and landing on Liam. "We need to talk to her." "Who are you?" Liam asked, stepping protectively in front of Ava, his posture tense. "We're associates of your mother's," the man said, his voice low and dangerous. "She owes us a lot of money. We need to settle this." Ava's heart raced as the situation escalated. "Get out," she shouted, her voice trembling with fear. "You can't just barge in here." The men exchanged glances, and the leader smirked, a chilling smile that sent a wave of nausea through her. "We'll be back. This isn't over." As they left, Ava and Liam stared at each other, the gravity of their mother's choices sinking in, the weight of their family's secrets pressing down on them like a heavy shroud. In the days that followed, the atmosphere grew more tense. The threat of their mother's past loomed over them like a dark cloud, casting shadows on their already fragile relationship. They learned that their mother had not only taken money from dangerous people, but had also hidden it in various accounts, leaving them to deal with the consequences. One night, Ava found herself alone in the hospital room, watching her mother's chest rise and fall, with the rhythm of the machines, each breath a reminder of the life that hung in the balance. Tears streamed down her face as she struggled to reconcile the loving mother she had known with the woman who had made such reckless choices. Suddenly, she heard a faint voice. Ava. It was her mother. Barely conscious, her voice like a whisper, carried on the wind. "Mom." Ava rushed to her side, grasping her mother's frail hand. "Can you hear me?" "Help. Me," her mother whispered, her eyes flickering open for a moment, filled with a mix of fear and longing. "You have to. Trust, Liam." "What do you mean?" Ava asked, her heart pounding in her chest. But before her mother could respond, the machines beeped erratically, and the nurses rushed in, pushing Ava out of the room. Panic flooding her veins as she was forced to stand helplessly in the hallway. After the incident, tensions between Ava and Liam reached a breaking point. Ava couldn't shake the feeling that Liam was hiding something more, something that could shatter the fragile bond they were trying to rebuild. One night, unable to sleep, she followed him after he left the hospital, desperate for answers. She watched as he entered a dimly lit bar, the kind of place that reeked of desperation and secrets, the neon lights flickering like distant stars. Inside, Ava overheard Liam talking to one of the men from earlier, a knot tightening in her stomach as she listened. "Just give me more time," Liam pleaded, his voice shaky. "I'll get the money. Just don't hurt her." Ava's heart sank as realization washed over her. Liam was involved in their mother's mess. He had been lying to her all along, trying to protect himself at the cost of their mother's safety. The betrayal cut deeper than she could have imagined, leaving her feeling both angry and lost. Ava confronted Liam the next day, her anger boiling over as they stood in the hospital's sterile hallway, the smell of antiseptic thick in the air. "You're in this too, aren't you? You're just as bad as she is. Don't you understand?" Liam shouted back, his face flushed with frustration and guilt. "I was trying to fix it. I thought I could handle it. By lying to me? By putting her in danger?" Ava's voice wavered, the hurt evident in her eyes. Liam's eyes softened, the weight of his guilt palpable. "I didn't want you to get hurt. I thought I could protect you both. I thought I could make it right." The revelation shattered Ava's trust. "You've put us all at risk. I can't believe you." With their mother's health declining and the threat of the men looming over them, Ava knew they had to make a choice. They could either confront the dangerous world their mother had created or try to escape it altogether. One night, after a particularly difficult day at the hospital, Ava made her decision. She would go to the police. They needed to protect themselves from the men who were threatening their family. But before she could act, Liam begged her to reconsider, desperation lacing his voice. "We can handle this ourselves, Ava. We can pay them off. Just give me time." "No, Liam," she said firmly, her resolve hardening. "This is bigger than us. We need help." In a desperate bid to protect her family, Ava contacted the police, sharing everything she knew. The officers took her seriously, launching an investigation into their mother's dealings. As the police began to gather evidence, the men who had threatened them grew more aggressive, their presence like a dark cloud hovering over them. One night, Ava received a chilling phone call. "You think you can just go to the cops? You have no idea who you're dealing with." Fear gripped her, but she stood her ground. "You can't intimidate me anymore." The police acted quickly, setting up a sting operation to catch the men. The night of the operation, Ava and Liam waited anxiously at the hospital, holding their breaths as the events unfolded. The tension in the air was palpable, each second stretching into eternity. When it was over, the men were arrested, their threats finally subdued. The weight of their mother's secrets began to lift, but the damage had been done. Ava and Liam's relationship was strained, filled with unspoken words and unresolved anger, their bond tested by the trials they had endured. Months passed, and their mother remained in a coma, but Ava and Liam slowly began to mend their fractured bond. They attended family therapy sessions, working through their issues and learning to trust each other again. The journey was painful, each session peeling back layers of resentment and hurt, but they were determined to heal. One day, while sitting by their mother's bedside, Liam took a deep breath, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Ava, I'm sorry. I should have told you everything." "I know," Ava replied, tears in her eyes, the weight of their shared pain hanging between them. "But we have to move forward. For her." As they spoke, their mother's eyes fluttered open, a miracle in the midst of their turmoil. "Ava, Liam," she murmured, her voice weak but filled with love, a beacon of hope shining through the darkness. In that moment, they realized that despite the shadows of their past, they could still find light in each other. They had each other, and together they would face whatever came next. Just when they thought they could finally start anew, Ava discovered something hidden in her mother's belongings. A journal filled with confessions and secrets. It detailed not only their mother's struggles, but also her hopes for her children, and a final message of love that brought tears to Ava's eyes. As Ava read the words, she felt a surge of emotion. Their mother had been flawed, but she had loved them fiercely, and that love was a thread that could bind their family together. With newfound resolve, Ava looked at Liam, her heart swelling with determination. We can do this. For her. And as they stood together, hand in hand, they knew that their journey was just beginning. They would face the future with hope, ready to cast away the shadows of their past. Years later, Ava and Liam visited their mother in a nursing home, where she had finally awakened from her coma. The road to recovery was long, filled with challenges and setbacks, but they were determined to rebuild their family one step at a time. With every visit, they shared stories, laughter, and love. They reminisced about childhood memories, the good and the bad, weaving a tapestry of their shared history. The shadows of their past had shaped them, but they had emerged stronger, united in their journey toward healing. As they left the nursing home one evening, Ava looked at Liam and smiled, a warmth blooming in her chest. We did it. We faced the darkness and found our way back. Liam nodded, a grin spreading across his face, his eyes shining with pride. Together, they stepped into the light, ready to embrace the future, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side, the shadows of their past finally behind them. By the way, if you love these kinds of stories, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.